What is up, everybody? Thank you for tuning in. This is the Matt Ramage Show with ManCave Monday. We have a great guest. Before we get into talking to him, big shout out to the sponsor of the show, Nicolay Law. If you ever get injured in a car accident and you need some help dealing with the insurance companies and whatnot, Nicolay Law has got you covered. And nicolaylaw.com is where you can find them. And if you're driving around Wisconsin, Midwest area, you're going to see all those billboards. So a big shout out to Nicolay Law, being a fantastic sponsor. And also Quick Trip. If you're coming to the draft in Green Bay this season, you've never been to Wisconsin, maybe you don't know where to stop and get the goods. Quick Trip is a spot. They got the beer, they got the ice if you need it, any type of thing. If you're tailgating, you're doing type of barbecue and stuff, they got all the food, they got all the drinks, they got everything that you need at Quick Trip, and they got the hot spot. So if you need some food on the go, they got the hook up there. But big shout out to both Nicolay Law and Quick Trip. We got ourselves a great guest today. Let everyone know who you are, Peter.
Well, hi everybody. My name is Peter, and I am a little bit atypical from some of your normal guests since I'm actually a Danish citizen and I am a huge Packers fan. But I live in Denmark, and I have for basically all my life. So great to be on the show. Thanks for having me, Matt.
Dude, I'm pumped to talk to you. So how does that happen? Like, I've talked to a lot of people who like other countries that are big football fans, big Packer fans. How did you become a Packer fan? How did this all start?
After high school, I needed to go out and experience the world a little bit. So I actually went to stay with some friends in Racine, Wisconsin. And
okay.
I was staying there, and I found some Danish exchange students and some Danish au pairs because apparently, and I did not know that before I came, that Racine was sort of like a miniature Danish city. And we got some tickets for a Packers game at Milwaukee County Stadium back in 1991.
All right.
And we went there, and everybody asked us, so how was it? And it was kind of cool. We didn't really understand the rules, but, we got there 5 minutes before the game, and what? You did it all wrong. And then a local guy, he sort of took me under his wings, and he said, I've got an extra ticket for the next game in Milwaukee, and I'll take you, and we'll do it right this time. And he picked me up at I think it was 7:30 in the morning or something like that, and I was like, why? Yeah, just do as I say, and dress warmly because it was cold. It was in November against the Colts. And I grew up barbecuing as a kid. Every summer, my dad would barbecue, and we loved that. So going in there, tailgating, putting that barbecue out there on in front of your car and just started barbecuing and drinking beer in the snow, that is where I completely fell in love with the Green Bay Packers and especially the fans.
Yeah, I think tailgate, like that whole part before the game, I think is equally as fun as the game itself. Like I always say, it's like training camp. I go down to training camp every year. That is so fun for me. Like I think that's as fun as a game. You're just hanging out with Packer fans. Watch a little bit of practice. You just meet so many people like every year, like especially for training camp. A lot of the same people, a lot of new people, but it's such a blast. Like I think that tailgating part, it goes so fast though. Even if you get there real early for like a game, I feel like it's already time to go in, and then it's a good time. Lot of beers.
Should be like that.
So when's the last time that you've been to a game over in Wisconsin?
That must have been 2021, I think. That was the last home game I went to. Last game I went to was actually the playoff game last year against the 49ers.
Oh, all right. So do you get to a lot of games?
I think I've probably been to around 22, 23 NFL games because in my job, I get to travel to the U.S. quite often. And I have some fantastic colleagues who sometimes, they'll get in touch and say, you know what, we need you to come over. Could you look at the NFL schedule and see when would be a good time for you to come by?
That's awesome.
Yep.
Have you ever been to one of the overseas games? You know, I know that the NFL is trying to like get presence in other countries. Have you ever been to one of those?
Yeah, I've been to a game in London. It was a 49ers and Jacksonville game, and now it sounds like I've been to a lot of 49ers games. Those are the only two, I promise, because, yeah, they're not my cup of tea.
Yeah, mine neither. So, what are the differences? Like, is there a big difference, like going to a game like in America versus over there? Because I know that they're like they play a lot of soccer, which they call football as
Yep.
well, depending on where you are. But they're like they're very passionate. Like they're whenever I see soccer games, like they're very loud.
Yep.
They're like so. Like, what was the difference in those?
I think when it comes to the American football, the difference is that in the European games, you have a mix of all kinds of fans. So you'll see all 32 teams represented. And I think that's cool because it sort of it helps people unite around the sport. But it also, of course, leads to a bit of a more mixed kind of atmosphere.
Yeah.
And I think European fans have learned so much more about the game over the last 10 years. It's amazing. But still, from an atmosphere standpoint, I'd much rather be tailgating in Lot 1 and going in through the United Nation gate.
Yeah, Lot 1 is where it's at right there.
It is. It is. And that's actually one of my most prized pieces of memorabilia out here in my little bar here. Because I have this one.
Okay.
International VIP Danish Lot 1 access card.
That's awesome.
Some of the Lot 1 guys, they made it for me, and we visited the Rams game in 2023. No, in 21, sorry. And I talked to the Lot 1 guys, and they invited us to our to their tailgate, and it was just fantastic. And they even made up these access passes for me and the rest of the guys.
That's awesome. So, speaking of the cave, you have a nice setup over here. When did this all start? When did you start becoming a collector, or like getting like this whole area set up?
The bar itself is only a couple of years old, but the idea is far older than that. It started probably 7 or 8 years ago because, as I said, I barbecue a lot. So I always barbecue outside, but Danish weather is not always very nice to barbecue in.
Yeah.
So I wanted to build a place where I could stand out of the elements and barbecue a little bit. And then I got the idea that maybe I could split the space and have a bar and a barbecue area. And then we were rebuilding the house that we live in. So we had some guys come in. We put an extension on the house. And as they were pouring concrete for the foundation for the extension, they also poured me a block of concrete for this. And then I built it, and now it's here, and it's amazing. But I also realized that there is absolutely no room for barbecues out here, so I still don't have a place where I can barbecue out of the rain. But you got to prioritize sometimes.
Yeah, you got a bar, so I think that you can. I think that I'd rather have the bar than the barbecue spot because you can still figure it out with the barbecue, and even though you might. So, what is the weather like there? I'm not a very good geographer. So, what's the weather like where you are?
Kind of like Wisconsin, Green Bay.
Yeah.
Just less extreme. So our winters don't get as cold and as much snow as you guys, and the summers are maybe a tiny bit milder.
All right, that doesn't sound too bad at all. That sounds pretty nice actually. Because I always think like in America, I think Midwest is like the best spot. Because like we don't get the hurricanes, we don't get the earthquakes, we get cold, but it's I can deal with the cold. We don't have like big old scorpions or alligators running up on us. Like all those type of stuff. Like if people in the South, in America, like I don't know how they deal with it because I can't. Like the bugs are just huge. Like it's like the alligators scare me. I know they're not just walking on the road, but I'm glad I don't live where they do.
Yeah, absolutely. We went to Florida last year for our summer holiday, and there's some big alligators down there.
Yeah, I see the videos, dudes golfing and an alligator just out in a boat. Like I can't deal with that. Okay.
No.
So let's get to your spot over here. I see you got a big TV back there. You got a lot of cool stuff on the shelf. Is this a spot where you like have people come and watch games with you? Is there a lot of Packer fans around you, or just NFL fans in general?
Well, the barbecue guys that I'm hanging out with most of the time, we started competing in barbecue competitions, and the way we found each other was actually through a mutual love of American football. So they quite often come over here for games. We've got a Bucks fan, a Rams fan, and then there's another Packers fan besides me. And they come over here on Sundays, and we hang out and we drink some beers, and we have a little fun watching the games. So it is a social spot, and it is that is why I built it. I mean, it's nice sometimes when the kids are acting up, or you've had too much to do at work or something. It's nice to come out here on your own, but primarily it's for having fun with friends.
Yeah, it's good to have a spot to just kind of like get away, get away from the wife. That's why I have this spot. She don't watch this. It's all right. So, what's your like? You mentioned that tag is your favorite thing that you got. Do you have anything else that is like special for you? Maybe it's from Green Bay or something cool.
Let's move around a little bit.
Yeah, let's go for a walk.
Yeah, so the first things I want to show you is I was fortunate enough by accident when the pro shop, all of a sudden, they had this special offer on the website, and I was just dropping by accident. So I actually have one of the old bleachers.
That's awesome. That's insane. I don't think I've ever seen one of the really, really old ones.
And when I got it, we were still crazy in love with Aaron Rodgers, all of us. But I kind of like that now I have the number 10 on there.
Number 10, yeah. So
yep.
How do you come across that? Like, did you just went to the pro shop? It was just there?
I was on the pro shop website, and it was just out on there. And I said, "Oh, yes, please." And click. And I ordered it, and they shipped it to me.
Yeah, I get that. I didn't know that. I think I might have seen, maybe the Drew Cave might have something like that. But, yeah, I don't think I've ever seen that. And anything else you want to show? Oh, no, go ahead.
The funny thing was, then, a couple of years later, I was in Green Bay. And of course, I had to drop by the pro shop.
Yeah.
And as I was walking in, they put these guys out.
Oh, that's from the field goal goalpost.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Yeah,
grab one of those as well.
I've seen those before. I've never seen one in person, but yeah, those that's a cool thing to have right there.
I think it is because I mean that's something that is it's not unique, but it's not something you can get very easily, and it's something I have to carry everything home with me in a suitcase. So this is portable.
Yeah.
That's also quite important, right?
No, I think that's awesome to have. I don't think, it's not like as unique as like some people have it, but most people don't. So like I think there's a small amount of people. I don't have one. So that's awesome. How long have you had that? What'd you say?
I think that's 4 or 5 years old or something like that.
That's awesome. You got a lot of liquor back there.
Oh yeah, because it is a bar.
Yeah.
And so let me. Yeah, maybe you can see it better now.
Yeah, you got a nice setup right there. Floor to ceiling too, huh? You guys get after it over here.
Well, that I was never a huge cocktail guy actually before, but then COVID hit, and I had to do something with my time,
Yeah.
So I started getting into cocktails and experimenting with that, and yeah, that's what happens then.
So, what's your favorite drink?
Oh, I'll never say no to a Wisconsin old fashioned.
Yeah. I'm not a big mixed drink type of guy. I have an old fashioned every now and again, but I'm like, unlike a lot of Wisconsin people, where I just drink beer. But if
Yep.
if I was gonna drink, I've been Corey Benke over at Cheesehead TV. I've had a few old fashioned at his house. He does them pretty nice. You know what I mean?
Yep. Absolutely. I've seen some of his recipes in his show.
Yeah, he does awesome. Is there anything else you wanna show? What else you got?
Well, we've got, of course, the TV and
Oh, you got arcade over here?
yeah, and that's actually handmade by myself. I built that myself.
No kid. You built. How do you do that?
Well,
That seems very
woodworking
protective.
couple of woodworking tools and a Raspberry Pi and some buttons from Amazon and a couple of tutorials online, and then you're good to go.
Yeah. So you're smart, huh?
No, I just have exorbitant amounts of time on my hands, apparently.
So I have a friend of mine, my friend Kevin. He helped me with some computer stuff, and he talked about Raspberry Pi, and like he was trying to teach me how you can do certain things, like my scoreboard for my game. And he's too smart for me to be able to follow along with what he was trying to say. But so what do you think about the draft coming to Green Bay this year?
Well, I think it's exciting for the community, right?
Yeah.
And I'm actually also pretty excited because I plan on being there.
Oh, okay, you're gonna be there.
Yeah. Let me just get my chair back here. I'm going to work the week before the draft in Louisville, Kentucky. So I'll be able to drive up and probably and I'll get there for the draft. So I'll be there for the last day of the draft.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'm gonna be there. Try to be there all week. Just go around, and I'm gonna try to show people like who aren't there, like videos of like what's going on over there and stuff. But what are you thinking about the draft? Are you a big college guy? Do you follow like who you want the Packers to draft, or you just kind of see what's what?
College football is not easy to follow over here.
No,
we
it's not.
don't really
Well, not
get it
here
on
either for
TV
me.
or anything. So it is a little bit difficult for us to follow it. So for me, it's more like, okay, there might be some positions that I think would be interesting to look into. But overall, I mean, I'm not that big of a Monday morning GM or
Yeah.
something like that. I've always found it a little bit funny how people go crazy online. They picked all the wrong players. How do you even know that? Right?
Yeah, I absolutely. Because like I have a podcast and I don't do that. Like I don't understand the guys who get paid really good by doing it their whole life, and obviously they're not perfect. They're not always right, and I have no problem with people having opinions. But like people like right out the gate, they draft someone like, oh, that guy sucks. He ain't gonna do nothing, And then when they're wrong and the guy is a baller, then they act like they never said it. That's what gets me.
Exactly.
Yeah. When it comes to college, like I work Saturdays, so it's so hard. There's so many college games. Like I try to catch Badger games because they're from Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Like when I can, but like I miss most of them, and I always think it's better that I don't watch Badgers because I feel like when I do watch them over the years, it's like it'll be like the worst game of the season. I'm like, I get to watch the Badgers today. I got off work or whatever, turn it on, they just get whooped. I'm like, I shouldn't watch. I think I'm bad luck for them.
Yeah, well, I've only seen one Badger game live, but that was a great experience.
I've never been to like seen them in person, but that is like an electric. Like from what I hear, I know a lot of people who go to a lot of Badger games. Like college football, is just. I think it's maybe because everyone's younger, like in the stands or whatever. But like they get rowdy, not rowdy in a bad way, but they get pumped up. I think kind of like soccer or whatever, football over there. I always see like the stands are always so crazy like that. I think that's cool, like to see like the just a crowd just going absolutely crazy.
Yeah, but there is also a downside to it, and that is that there are certain soccer fans who cannot really control it.
Oh yeah. I don't want to go that far,
No, but that is I think a major problem in soccer actually, that all major clubs have fans that don't know how to behave.
Yeah, and I see the videos too here of like other football stadiums and NFL that people are getting in fights or whatever. I don't think I've ever seen a fight in San Lambeau Field. Not to say it doesn't happen, but I've never like seen one. Like I've been to a lot of games. I've never seen And I know what happens. People be drinking, they get stupid, they say the wrong thing or whatever. But I think I would like to think that Lambeau Field's a little bit better than other stadiums because some stadiums are just crazy.
Yeah.
People are just swinging, just beating the crap out of each other. I never understood that.
No, me neither.
Because my team isn't doing so well, so now I got to fight you.
Yeah,
exactly.
I don't get that. I think that the worst experience I actually had was that playoff game in San Francisco. They were actively harassing Packers fans after the game that they won.
Yeah, I don't get that.
No, me neither.
Yeah, especially after you won.
Yeah.
That's the easiest time to be like the high road. That's the easiest time. We won, you can be like, hey guys, good job, whatever, have a good time.
Yeah.
But
exactly. And then I've been to games at Lambeau where after the game, it doesn't matter if you won or you lost, you're still having beers and shots with the opposing team fans outside of Lambeau.
Yeah, and I've done it too, like for even like tailgating and stuff. I'm hanging out with like Lion fans, whatever team they're playing. And it ain't the social media and like reality is like totally different. Like social media, everyone hates everyone. I have fun with it. I joke around with fans, but I don't hate like if you're a Viking fan, I don't hate Viking fans. I like to make fun of them, like their team, but I never take it personal to a personal level. But the Bears, dude, I love trashing the Bears. So let me ask you that: what rival is like the one you like the least?
That'll be the Vikings.
Yeah.
And that's because they have been sort of semi-competent.
Yeah. That is true. Like over the years, they've been the one that's kind of like been. I always say the Vikings, like every 10 years, they have a good run. Yeah. But during the 2000s, though, they were doing their thing. They were competitive. How do you see the NFC North stacking up this year? You know, the Lions lost their offense and defensive coordinator, bringing someone new in there, but obviously they're on top. The Bears has hired themselves a new coach. Everyone's excited about them. The Vikings, they need a quarterback, possibly. I'm not saying anything about McCarthy. I know he was injured last year. Seems like they wanted a vet. They're talking about Aaron Rodgers, but I don't think that's going to happen. But what do you think about it?
It would be hilarious, though.
Dude, it would be crazy. Like, at first, I was like, that'd be funny. And then when they started talking about it actually happened, I was like, no, I don't think I want that. I don't want it. The Vikings, I think Aaron Rodgers' best spot, if he had the option, would be to play for the Vikings. It's a tough division, but I feel like that team has what Rodgers would need as an older player. Yep. He needs a good offensive line. He's got they got weapons in Minnesota. I don't want to see it. I don't think it's going to happen. But how do you think? What are your feelings on the NFC North?
I think it's going to be a tough division again this year. There are always question marks. So I always go into the season with an open mind. And, of course, obviously, I always go into the season believing that the Packers will win the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
As it should be. But it's I think the NFC North has evened out a lot over the last 3 years.
Yeah, I agree. I think the NFC North, like the Lions are on top. I feel like even like this year, it's going to be, they're even more. I think like there's less separation from top to bottom because even the Bears, who I don't think are good, and I hate the Bears. I don't want them to ever win. But I feel like they're going to be better. Caleb Williams, another year under them. If they make the right decisions, which I don't know, their head coach, everyone's talking about how great he is. Took a little shot at Matt LaFleur. I didn't care for that, but I hope the Packers just beat the crap out of them. But I do think that they're going to get better. The Vikings depend on their quarterback situation, but I do feel like it's going to be more clustered. There's more of an option for the winner of the division might only have 3 more wins than the last place team. I'm not sure, but it seems like that could be a thing.
It could be for sure. That's without a doubt. And but I think with what we're doing, I mean, we're expecting a lot of improvement from our own guys this year.
Yeah.
And that for me is sort of that's the question mark for this season in relation to our roster. Will they make that jump?
Yeah, they need to. What position kind of worries you more? Like everyone talks about wide receiver and everyone talks about pass rush. Which one of those two do you think is we need some people to step up more?
Both.
You went wrong.
And I think, I might be a good idea to address some of that in the draft. I don't know. I would like to see us do some boring draft picks like O-line or D-line, because I think we could use a little bit of help there too. Corner.
Yeah. Yeah, I when it comes to the draft, I never know, because first of all, like, I think it's all like who's there when they pick.
Yeah.
And they're, I'm not a big college scout or nothing, so but yeah, I think pass rush to me is like what is needed the most. Whether it's the guys on the team, people said Van Ness is coming in, he's in better shape. I think I've seen something about that on Twitter. But Van Ness is the guy that they're gonna need to have step up, because you look at the Super Bowl, what happened to the Chiefs? They couldn't stop that pass rush. Pass rush is key. I don't care who the quarterback is. If you got, Tom Brady in his prime, Aaron Rodgers in his prime, if you get in their face, they can't protect. Yep. They're not going to be successful, and especially when you don't have to blitz to do it. If you have a defense where you don't have to blitz, it helps out everyone, and you can get after the quarterback. It's so huge, and and it goes the other way too. We need a good offensive line to stop other teams from doing that. But I think pass rush is the biggest thing for me. Wide receiver is too, but I feel like those guys are there. I have faith that Romeo Doubs and Wicks, that they had a lot of drops. Jordan Love was coming off an injury, or he got 2 injuries last year. I think that stalled some stuff, and maybe even timing and all that. So
you're back.
I don't know what happened. Like my internet went out. I blew a fuse.
Oh, okay.
So it's still recording. So I'll just try I'll now have to do some work editing. So I forget what we were talking about.
Yeah, me too. I don't know.
All right, so we'll just pick it up, and I'll throw a little thing in there. Now my whole afternoon is gonna be editing now. I suck at editing, but all right, so we're back. We had a little situation. I've been blowing fuses in my basement. I have to figure this thing out, because I can't have this during my shows. Well, I just started too. I didn't have this problem at all. All the last football season, I didn't change anything, so I had to figure out what's going on. But anyway, we're gonna get into this thing. So do you? Let's get back into this. Do you plan on going to any Packer games this coming up season?
I hope so, but usually it kind of depends on, do I need to go to the U.S. for work? Because flight tickets from Denmark to the U.S. are pretty expensive.
Yeah. So that's a nice setup you have, that your work pays for you to come over here to do work, and then, hey, while I'm over here, I can catch a Packer game. That's a beautiful setup.
It is, and I also have a very understanding wife that allows me to do that. So it's a fantastic situation to be in.
Yeah, that's a nice setup right there. I forgot what I was going to ask you. This whole thing threw me off, but
well, I have a special piece of memorabilia.
Oh, yeah.
That I'd like to show you.
There you go.
I actually have 2. The first one is probably pretty weird, and I don't know if you're old enough to remember cassette tapes.
Oh yeah, I definitely am.
But I have this one, and it's apparently a rapper called Doogie's in the House. And this is a guy that was actually financed by Reggie White.
Oh, really?
So I don't know if you can see it. This is actually an autographed cassette tape from Reggie White.
Dude, that is awesome. I've never seen anything like that. I don't think I've ever even seen that Reggie White had in it was his artist.
Yeah, I think he supported him and financed him on that journey.
That's awesome. I never heard that he did that, and that's cool that you have that autograph too. That's ridiculous. That's such a one of a kind type of thing.
That is a really weird thing. And the other one I wanted to show you is also a one-of-a-kind thing, because it's actually handmade and was made by one of my best friends. Because we hate the Vikings horn.
Oh, yeah.
So what he did was he broke a horn and put it on a football field for me.
That's awesome.
And then there's a small button down here that plays a sound that indicates what we would like to do with the horn.
That is so awesome.
We need some polka.
That's awesome. So he just made that up, huh?
Yep, it did.
That's a pretty legit right there.
Absolutely.
So what are your thoughts on, like, you don't like the Vikings the most. Everyone doesn't like the Bears. What are your thoughts on the Lions? All right, were you one of the guys that were like kind of feeling bad for them because they're struggling all those years, but now we're like, whoa. But so what's your thoughts on the Lions?
I've actually always liked the Lions. My wife was an au pair in Detroit. So she was actually, she was a bad influence on me, I think. And she was, when she was there as an au pair, she actually got to watch a game with Brett Favre and Barry Sanders.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
I've never seen either of those play.
Yeah. Let's say Barry Sanders is one that I would really like to watch play. I've seen Favre play. I think just once. I didn't go to a lot of games back in the day, but yeah, Barry Sanders is really fun to watch. I think that he'd have been fun to watch. He was like my Lions are a rival or whatnot, but Barry Sanders I think is the best running back ever.
Yeah, I think he's definitely up there for sure. And then Lions have always been kind of harmless. But then we had the opportunity with the barbecue team to come over for the Rams game in 2021, and that was the game of the Thanksgiving weekend. So we decided to fly in on Wednesday and then drive to Detroit and catch the Thanksgiving game over there against the Bears. And I know a really cool guy, Mark, who's a big Packers fan, season ticket holder, but he lives in Michigan. And so I talked to him that, do you know any Detroit fans that would be willing to let us participate in their tailgating before the Thanksgiving game? And he gave me some contact information for Greg, who's a great guy. He was actually the Lions fan of the year that year. Right. And he just welcomed us with open arms to his tailgate. And we had a blast tailgating with him and his family and his friends. And then we went to the game. The game was a little bit boring, but it was just, a great experience again, just tailgating with other fans. Yeah, so I've always had a soft spot for the Lions, and I wish them all the best, except when they play against us.
Yeah, I think Lion fans and all the ones I met, like at Lambeau Field or at games, were super cool. The ones on the social media, kind of give. But I think social media just in general, is not the real representation of any team, any fan base, because social media is just so toxic. And I love social media. I'm on there all the time, but you know how people are, especially against sports. People get so crazy. Like they're like, hey, I think the Packers are going to win this game. People are like, yeah, you can go to, they just like go crazy with it. But yeah, Lion fans, I've tailgated with some Lion fans at Lambeau, where we had a group of Lion fans right next to us one time, so we kind of were hanging out with them, and they were good people. Plus, I think we won that game, so it made everything all right. You know what I mean? So, do you have any other teams that you kind of like don't like? I don't want to use the word hate, but like, what other teams? Like a lot of people don't like the Cowboys. You mentioned the 49ers.
Cowboys, I don't mind that much. I think they're annoying, but they've had nothing to cheer about for so many years. So it's that's all right. You can be annoying for a couple of years. That's all right. The 49ers, I have a problem with sometimes because they beat us in too many important games. And then that experience in the playoffs was, it was not what I was used to as a fan of the game. Seattle Seahawks can be a little annoying sometimes also, but I think that's it. I mean, I prefer to sort of keep the rivalry within the NFC North because that's where the most fun is.
Yeah, I think most teams that I don't like come from my childhood, like the Cowboys, because like growing up in the 90s, they were good and we were not. We were just coming up. But they just say that the Seahawks not as much anymore. But my 2012 times, those that little span right there,
Yeah.
But let me ask you this: like, where you live, do you see a lot, like just on general days, do you see a lot of like NFL like gear, like other
No.
teams, or it's just at the games or whatever? You don't see it all over the place.
I mean, here in Denmark, there are a lot of NFL fans, but you don't see people wearing a lot of gear on the streets. It's
Yeah,
actually very rare. So
yeah.
whenever I see somebody with a Green Bay cap or something like that, you always got to yell "Go Pack, go" at them.
Is that like a bonding moment? Like you see someone with a Packers hat
Yeah,
or whatever, and you just start talking about talking football.
yeah,
I've always wondered that about like other countries, and I know that's what the NFL is trying to change because
mm-hmm.
they want everyone to buy hats in
Yep.
Denmark and everywhere across the world. Do you have anything else that you want to show us real quick? Hopefully my
I think
Wi-Fi
those
holds
were
up.
the pieces that I brought out here for tonight. I think. Yeah, I think those were the most important pieces, actually.
I like your spot though. I like the bar. It seems like a good place to watch some football, have some drinks. It looks like you have lots of options for drinks
Yeah,
over there.
it's an excellent place to hang out, and I do mix some good drinks. And then in the summertime, when it gets warmer, it's actually open here. I can open and close this gate, so,
Oh,
so
really?
you can sit outside and sit in the bar and watch the big TV and have fun.
So that goes outside right behind you there?
Yeah, that's my garden out there. That's my
Well,
yard.
so that just opens up like in the summertime or when it's nice. That's
Yep.
awesome. Oh yeah, you can kind of see now. Before it looked like it was just like covered up, but yeah, the light started to fix there. But yeah, that's an awesome. So I do want to mention also that you joined the Green Bay guy on his podcast, right?
Yep.
So I don't know when that's going to be up, but everyone be sure to check out the. I forget his podcast now. I think it's Tales of the Tundra, right?
Yep.
I think
so.
I think that's what it's called. But big shout out to the Green Bay guy. He does a great job. He's got some good podcasts up. Be sure to subscribe and listen. You can see hear Peter's story. He probably did a lot. Probably asked a lot better questions, didn't he?
There are different ways of doing it, and you all have your own style, and I appreciate that because I mean, if everybody was the same, who'd watch that?
Yep. Ben's a good friend. He does. Actually, he's one of the reasons that I do podcasts. When I first started doing social media stuff and started growing a little bit, he was like, "You should start a podcast." And then I did, and I quit once. I did restart because I was like, it's a lot harder than people think.
Yep, it is.
Especially like trying to get like guests and stuff and trying to line up people,
Yep.
talk to good people like you. But yeah, I think that's all we got for today. I'm gonna have to do a lot of editing because my fuse blew. I had to figure that out because I can't have that thing blowing all the time. But if you're gonna be at the draft, hopefully I run into you.
Yeah, absolutely. That would be really fun. I'll be there Saturday for sure.
Yeah, I will be around. I'll be around all week. And I thought there was something. Oh yeah, I do want to mention as well, people watching, that this tomorrow I interviewed. I had the director from the movie Green and Gold. Have you seen this movie or heard about this movie?
I've heard about it, but I haven't seen it yet.
So it starts live streaming April 1st on Apple. There's a few other apps. It's out there. I forget. I don't have it right in front of me. But so everyone check out Green and Gold movie. I think it's for rent. I don't know. I haven't seen it yet, but I just seen that they posted. But I will be posting that tomorrow. And that was a fun podcast, fun conversation, talking about how that movie was made and all that. He told me I could be in his next movie. I told him, I say, hey, I don't need to have a line. Just let me walk by in the background. Like, if there's a movie, there's a scene at like a gas station, let me just be like digging through the garbage behind them. Give me some. I don't need to be a star. Just let me just wander around the background a little bit. That's my goal in life, just to get inside a movie. But not yet. But I appreciate your time, man. It's late for you, huh?
My pleasure. Yeah, I mean, it's not that bad right now, but it's there is a bit of a time difference. Typically 6 or 7 hours, depending on daylight savings.
So let me ask you that real quick. Like watching games, then that's what I always thought was fascinating about fan bases in other countries, on the other side of the world, is that you're watching Packer games like 1 a.m. sometimes, right?
Yep.
And that's
Which-
just crazy.
If they're on that late, I don't watch them because I got to go to work the next morning.
Yeah.
But I have this subscription service where I can watch the games later if I want to. So it's but the early games I always watch. If they're sort of in the middle slot on Sundays, if it's a good game, I'll stay up and I'll take the punishment the next morning when I can't wake up. But the late games, they're virtually impossible.
Yeah, because like the noon games for us would be like 6 o'clock for you.
7.
7? Yeah. So yeah, I'm not good at time zones. I always have to ask my wife if I have someone on my podcast, and they'll be like, I can do 7 Eastern time. My wife, what's that? I don't know, and I just can't figure it out. I don't know time zone. That's why I always tell everyone Central Time. You figure it out. You're smarter than me. You tell me what time it is where you are. All right, well, we're going to wrap this thing up. Big thank you to Peter Braun. Is there anywhere you're on social media that you want people to find you? Are you a big social media guy?
No, I'm not actually. I'm just me. So
yeah, you're living a happier life. I tell you that much right now. Big thank you to Peter joining us. We got some music to walk us out of this thing. Go Pack, go everyone. Thanks for watching, and big shout out to Peter over here. It was good chat besides my Wi-Fi going out. Go Pack, go.